Sabecico, what, fist up today! Fist up today! Oh, fins up, baby! Miami, stand up! This is Fins Talk today! Let's go! Sun up over there, game day on the brain, from the tailgate smoke to the hard count rain. Orange aqua on my back, crowd shaking every seat. We talking ball, talking heat, turn it up, feel that beat. Fins talk today, Fins talk today. Fins up all day from the 305, we ride that way. Bobby Fins talk, Fins Sammy on the way. Miami, vamos, it's Fins talk today. Hey, 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 it's Fins talk today. Who you reppin'? Who you riding? Miami, who you riding? Dolphins, we break it down, break it live, every snap, every drop. Hey, Fins talk today. Fins up all day from the 305, we ride that way. Fins talk, Fins Sammy on the way. Miami, vamos, vamos, it's Fins talk today. Hey, 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 Fins talk today.
All right. Good evening, Dolphin fans, and welcome to Fins Talk today here on FTSN, powered by the Fins Talk Sports Network and Fins TV. I'm Bobby Fins Talk, joined always by Fins Sammy, who made us late. No, I'm just playing. No, DSG. It was us. We were chatting it up, catching up, busy
Business
content
meeting.
creators.
The post-show business meeting was held before the show. So.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. We usually do this after the show. We did it before. But shout out to everybody who's watching. We appreciate you tuning in. All those dropping in again, watching Fins Talk today here on FTSN. We are excited to have you. Got a lot to talk about. We had the rookie numbers drop today, so we're going to chat about that. We're going to talk about Stephen Ross's revelation, his reveal that Dolphins, or not Miami, not the Dolphins, but Miami, not going to be hosting a Super Bowl anytime soon. And then we're going to grade. People have been grading draft picks. We're going to grade the Dolphins roster by position groups. We're going to do that today. That's kind of the main event. But first off, I want to say, while Sammy's here, shout out to FTSN and the crew. And Sammy's a big part of that as well. That Fins Talk Sports Network on YouTube surpassed 3,000 subscribers, 3,500 plus. So I'm very excited about that. So I want to appreciate everybody who has subscribed, and I want to welcome the newcomers. Again, we got a lot of great Dolphins content on here. We got Heat, baseball, college football, fantasy sports, college sports. We got wrestling. We got it all here on FTSN, and we're growing. So welcome to the channel. Whether you love or hate what we're talking about, let us know. We welcome it. We welcome you. This is a safe space. Make sure if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and let us know where you're watching from. We know DSG's watching from Syracuse. We got Robert watching from South Florida, if I remember correctly. Obviously, Sammy, Puerto Rico. I'm in Nashville. So, we got Cap there. I see Cap. Great to see everyone tuning in. Man, if I could pull this up, Sammy, it's been a week, my man. How you been?
Doing great. This rookie minicamp is next week, so it's something to get excited about because the Dolphins off season right now, so basically minicamp is long. It feels long. This is that time of the year that many of the reporters are out taking vacation. After this one, you're gonna see the executives from the Dolphins taking vacation. So this is the last one, basically, until they have to meet again for mandatory minicamp or organizing activities. So. It's exciting. You're going to have a first look at the rookies. You're going to see some pretenders saying they know what's going to happen. But basically, first day, everybody hated the Dolphins draft. Second day, they had kind of resigned to the draft. By Monday, even Greg Cody was saying, he was wrong about Proctor over Ruben Bain. So it happens. It happens to Greg Cody. It happens to everybody. So, this is the time of the year that is slow. People are resetting their board on the expectations, and we're going to talk about that because the Dolphins didn't get too much expectations coming to the schedule. So we're going to talk a bit about the expectation for the Dolphins. The over-under looks bleak. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, talk about the rookies. You're right? When the draft happened, there were a lot of people because, look, we did it on Fins Talk Today, on different shows, on FTSN. You did one on Fins TV. We know our the friends of the channel, whether it's Fins Faithful, Diver, all of them. We do mock drafts, right? And everybody does a mock draft. It's a great practice. It's a great simulator. You kind of figure out what your team may do depending on who falls where. But I think people become prisoners of the mock draft, and they're like, oh, this guy was supposed to get drafted here. And, so when you see like a Caleb Douglas, which all intent and purposes, yes, he was somebody where a lot of people didn't see him, in a certain spot. They didn't see him at 75. But when he got drafted, a lot of people were like, that's a terrible reach. That's horrible. Why would you take him there? Blah, 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 blah. Now, we don't know what Miami saw that we didn't see. But I'll tell you what, he didn't have great quarterback play. Tell you what, there was a lot of times that he was wide open and get the ball thrown to him. I'll tell you what I do see when I look at him. I see speed. I see size. I see some really good catches. There's other stuff that you could complain about, but there's potential there. And I think as weeks go on, and now you're kind of locked in on these players, now there's no mystery. Now you know these guys. You're getting to watch them more. You get to learn about them. You start to see, wait, now I kind of get it, right?
Yeah.
Caden Proctor, the size, the versatility, the movement on the line, the ease. Okay, now I get it. You're moving him at left guard. Damn, I like 6'7", 6'8" guys on the left and right, the left guard, left tackle position. That's kind of nice. Kamarick, or Kekmarick, the tight end. The hell was that about, right? When we saw it. But then when you start to explore and look at this, blocking tight end, maybe the best blocking tight end in the draft. You think about what it could do for the running game with Devon Achane, Ollie Gordon. You start to like it more. Kevin Coleman. Why do we draft 3 receivers? The guy's a playmaker. He could help you in the return game. He could help you in the offense where when the receiving room is not doing so well. So set, a couple weeks later, a week later, whatever, it starts to make a lot more sense. But of course, as Dolphin fans, as sports fans, you start to talk yourself into it. Talking about the rookies, though, we got the rookie numbers. We got them in, and want to talk about it. So first off, we'll start from low to high here. Chris Johnson, Sammy, number 3, gets the number 3 for his rookie year. Caleb Douglas, wide receiver. This is number 7. Interesting.
Yeah,
that one's interesting.
Right off the bat, those numbers bring some memories. Number 3 OBJ, number 7 Sanders. So it's kind of a new era. That's what you realize things are really changing. And as long as you keep saying other names, it really shocks you.
It does. Jacob Rodriguez, number 10. That was Tyreek Hill. And now it's Jacob Rodriguez. But I'll tell you what, Jacob Rodriguez is probably gonna. I think he could. Everybody thinks Tyreek Hill is number 10, and I get it, and it will be for a little while. But I could see Jacob Rodriguez making that his own. Where a few years down the line, when we see 10, we think of Jacob Rodriguez. Trey Moore. Talk about Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Trey Moore takes number 17. Our rookie edge rusher is now number 17 for the Miami Dolphins. 18, Chris Bell. Chris Bell wears number 18. So the receiver, who I think could have been a first-round pick if he was healthy, takes the number 18. And I don't remember, who was it? Was it Butcher? I don't remember the first name. Not Patrick Williams, was it? Who was 18 for Miami wide receiver? Oh man, it wasn't somebody. It wasn't a. Maybe somebody will know.
Yeah,
Preston Williams. Preston Williams.
Yes.
There you go, Raphael with the clutch shot, and Kyle Lewis, who I'm excited about. Kyle Lewis, the safety turn linebacker, wears number 19. This gets me excited about that linebacker room. Michael Taft, the safety out of Texas, 31. Seydou Traore, the friend, 49. Say what? He said, bless you. Where's number 49? He's another guy. I started watching some film on him after the draft, and I could see why. I get it. There's some potential there. Max Laron from Iowa, 57. 63 out of Texas, DJ Campbell. Caden Proctor, number 74, which was Liam Eichenberg.
Yeah, because Grant changed the number to 78.
Yes. Yep.
So I would have
And
expected him to be 78, but yeah, that would have been great. But since Grant took 78, then,
which I don't look good on a D tackle, whatever. Will Katmarick 82 and Kevin Coleman 83. Which one's your most? Which one you like the most out of the numbers? Which one you're like, yeah, I love that number on him.
Rodriguez, I like the number I like the most is Rodriguez for sure. That it's interesting because I know for sure Rodriguez number 10, and Tyreek has had a very good history with number 10. So it will be interesting to see 10 on defense. I would Rodriguez would basically every single fan has so many high hopes for him. So Rodriguez stands up at number 10. That's the number I really think that's gonna be different. But it should be great to see some new faces. At least I'm hoping that we're not gonna win a lot of games, but you can see the development, the hope. That would be nice.
Yeah, I agree. I like number 10 on Rodriguez. I think Raphael's right though. Not Raphael, Robert. That 49 is a fullback's number. Maybe that's where they see Seydu playing at. Possibly they don't have a fullback, so that could be the case. Orlando More was also number 10 as well. Great point. So two good players. Jacob Rodriguez following suit there. Which one's your least favorite number?
Number 3, just because it's sour for me. Kurt Fuller, OBJ. I see number 3, and I don't. It doesn't give me high hopes. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm wrong, but for right now, I have PTSD with number 3. So yeah.
I love Chris Bell. I don't like that he's 18. I think I would have been better if he was 19. Brandon Marshall, even though Marshall he was okay, I think 19 would have been better. We had Marshall and Ted Ginn. I think that would have been cool with 18, 19, but maybe he makes 18 great and it works out. But I get it. I'm with you on number 3. Number 3 kind of feels a little off. But talking about that, let me pull this up here. Now, you brought this up. You wanted to discuss this about the Super Bowl in Miami. For a while, Miami was a destination for the Super Bowl for many years. Every other year, every 5 years, whatever, the Super Bowl would be in Miami. I mean, I remember I staffed one. I was at one I helped set up for the when the Packers took on the Broncos and, when the Bears played the Colts. But doesn't look like it's going to be the case for a while, Sammy.
There used to be a time, of course, in the 60s, early 70s, with the Super Bowl. Basically, I think it was played 3 out of 4 years in Miami, even. So, there was the destination. Miami used to be in the rotation over and over and over. So, it's hard for me sometimes to remove myself from being the Dolphins fans who feels that the league has something against us, because every single time it's like, it's weird. It's a complicated team for me. I wrote something the other day where I can understand why the league sees that the area around the Hard Rock Stadium underdeveloped. It's not very friendly to a walk-up person compared to other cities where you have walkable things. In Atlanta for the Braves, you have so many great things outside the stadium. I'm not going to even tell you about the Cowboys, because the Cowboys are awesome outside the stadium. But unless you want to hang out after the game at the Walmart, there's not too much to do walking distance. And the only hotel that was nearby, it used to be the Stadium Hotel, and they closed it. It's not a hotel anymore. So I can understand why the league may see something like that. It's changed so much. The tennis courses, the Baptist Health, the racetrack has occupied a lot of ground around the stadium. I can understand why they see that, but I can understand why Stephen Ross will sacrifice a Super Bowl when basically making money. He's making a lot more money with the F1, with the tennis, and a lot more entertainment every single year compared to a Super Bowl every 5 years, and with so many dome stadiums, maybe every 8 years, you're going to sacrifice basically to comply with the NFL. So it's a complicated subject. From what I learned, I think I understand the criticism of Stephen Ross, but Stephen Ross wants to be the best at everything. So if there's something that he can do to develop the area, to bring the Super Bowl back, he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to sacrifice all those meters again for F1 and for the tennis, but I think there's a way to do it. He's going to evaluate it. The league usually, I remember was at the time that they said that the Dolphins, after that Super Bowl with Peyton Manning and the Bears rained so much. You remember Prince in the Rain? That was the best halftime ever. You ask me, under the rain, with the guitar singing Purple Rain under the rain. But they didn't like it. But when you're spending so much money and on those closed seats and you get soaking water from the rain, that's not fun. They developed the canopy because that was supposed to be the Super Bowl back. They think this happened a couple of years again, and now it's not enough. What do they want? A removable roof? Maybe it's one of the things. I think there's gonna be a couple of, maybe by the end of the season, it's gonna be public what the league wants for the Dolphins to do, and we'll have to wait and see if something reasonable or not. But again, it's all about the money, and but you have to take in consideration that the city of Miami benefits a lot more for having the Grand Prix every single year, races and the tennis tournament than for a Super Bowl once in every 8 years with all those teams that now are getting a dome. So they're probably going to be in the rotation at least once. So, I understand the disappointment of many, especially the Super Bowl committee in Miami. They're not going to have a Super Bowl in the next couple of years, but I think it's worth it.
And I will say, I know, like, at least for me, or Dolphin fans, I think would care more if the Dolphins themselves were in a Super Bowl more than the city of Miami hosting a Super Bowl. But the city of Miami hosting a Super Bowl is great for the community. It's great for the city. Brings revenue. So I understand why it's a problem. Hopefully it happens, but I understand Stephen Ross. The F1, not FIFA, the World Cup, etc. Bringing those destination tennis, etc. I think Daniel just brought that up. Daniel Taylor, appreciate you watching, but he brought that up. So,
and it has been enough for the national championship. What there's something wrong when you have the Orange Bowl every single year, even the national championship in Miami? So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So maybe I didn't hear Raphael says that Ross is going to go back and try to get public funding to improve the stadium. We'll see if that happens. I haven't heard that. So, it would make sense, right? They're going to try. It's better that you try than not to try. And if they could get it, great. If they don't, all right. But again, we have teams like the Raiders with their stadium, protected by the roof, but also just a beautiful site. And then which the Dolphin Stadium is beautiful. It is a beautiful stadium, what they've done there. And, but then you look at like Nashville right now, the Titans, they're building themselves a beauty right now. And that's going to host a Super Bowl soon, try to host a WrestleMania soon. So Miami probably is going to, if to make it intriguing, might have to try to think about doing something similar to that, if that is the case. So yeah, SoFi, State Farm, etc. So anyway, interesting to note. We'll see how that kind of plays out. Last night on East Tenture Boys with Alex, we talked about the schedule. We talked about the opponents. We'll kind of see, this is, with a young team, an experienced team, where this roster how this roster could look and how it will hold up against next season's schedule, which the release should be, I believe, next Wednesday, Sammy. And
14 or 15. Something like that, yes.
I think it's on Wednesday. Well, it could be Wednesday or Thursday of next week. And, looking at the schedule, or at least the opponents, it's going to be a tough year. It's a tough schedule. Now, you got to consider what teams are going through. You got the Patriots with the Vrabel situation. How does that impact the team? The Jets they had a solid draft. They're a talented team. They got Geno back at quarterback. But last year people thought they were going to be a good team and they fell off, and Aaron Glenn, who I thought was going to be a good coach, he struggled. What happens there? Can the Bengals stay healthy? You have, what else? Does the Bears stay relevant, or do they take a step back? Do the Lions continue to fall, or do they step themselves back up? And does Miami as a young team just let teams run over them, or do they play with a chip on their shoulder and do they shock people? So it's going to be an interesting year next year. Again, yesterday looking, kind of discussing, like I could see where Miami could come away with a few wins here and there, depending how they're coming up. But I know you said it in the comments yesterday. If they get over, Alex said yesterday, he was like, "Oh man, I can see 0-17," and then at the end he was like, "I see 8-8, I see 8-9." I'm like, "How the hell did you get there?" I'm like,
"These typical Dolphins fans, that's the way it starts and that's the way it always ends." So,
But, kind of seeing the opponents at least, what we discussed yesterday, what you saw yesterday on the show on East Century Boys, what realistically, I mean, we got to see how everything plays out. We got to see the schedule. We're going to Green Bay. The Dolphins are going to Green Bay. Chargers are coming to Miami. So we're going to get a McDaniel matchup. Maybe that's a primetime game. I don't know. But realistically, at least right now, till we get the actual schedule, how many wins can you see Miami getting with the opponents they have on coming up?
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna sound negative, but I'll try to be realistic. I don't see 5 wins. I just don't. But there's something we have learned is that we go every single day, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, and everything is backwards, so all over the place. So it's hard for you to prognosticate that because injuries, things happen. If it's in December, if it's in September, defines a lot of things. Going to Green Bay in December is not the same as the Green Bay opens the season in Miami, so it's completely different. So even before it's even harder to do before the schedule is here. But even that, just by the opponents, I think I told you yesterday, if Howard wins 6 games, he should be coach of the year because this team is very, very young, very inexperienced. I don't think there's the talent here that you can develop and have a very good team in a couple of years. But it's a very young team, very, very raw. The philosophy is going to be like we talked so many times, draft and develop. They're going to have to wait a couple of years to develop. So if they have the over under at 3.5, I might have to take the under, just because, sorry, Ross, but the Jets are there. I think that might be a win. And, you have to find a win somewhere else in the schedule. I don't think they're going to sweep the Jets. But, they usually, division games are tricky. So they might pull off something weird against the Patriots. And, the Raiders are there. You have to see the injuries. So week 1 is against the Chiefs. Maybe, who knows? You can pull an upset. So it's complicated. But last year I went to the season with low expectations. This year I basically bottom out. My expectations, realistic expectations, are very, very low. So I'm going to say 3. We have to wait by the season. That might go to 5. Right now, I don't see 4 wins from this team. I truly don't.
I think and I get it. I'm not going to argue or anything like that. I agree. I think, you can't really look at the roster and look at where we're at right now and say with a shadow of the doubt that, hey, they're going to win more than this many games. I will say, go into the season with no expectations. No, they win 3 games. It is what it is. What do you expect? They win 8 games. Wow. Shock. That's showing some growth again. I think though, being young, being hungry, being guys like Caleb Douglas, who saw and heard probably from the fans that they weren't happy, having a chip on their shoulder, Chris Bell, who got passed up on, maybe playing with a chip on his shoulder. What does Malik Willis do? Does he respond? How does he play? It's going to be interesting. I don't think their coaches or the players are going to play laying on their back. I think they're going to play hard and play tough. I think we're going to see a culture change in Miami. Does that equal out a successful season? Whatever equals a successful season, we'll see. But what we're going to do, though, kind of dictates that. We're going to grade out the roster today, at least in our opinion. Now, what I want everybody else to do, those who are watching, whether you're watching before or after the show, shout out to everyone tuning in, watching Fins Talk today here on FTSN, sponsored by Caneswear, powered by FTSN and Fins TV. This is Fin Sammy and Bobby Fins Talk Live. Appreciate you all tuning in. Do me a favor, though, as we go position by position, put your grade in for that position. What you think that position should get and this is the whole room, right? You're thinking like we're going to talk on quarterback. That's Malik Willis, Quinn Ewers, Cam Miller. What grade do you give that room? All right, so we're going to throw that up. Let me go ahead and put this in. Sammy, I might drop you out and come right back up. Exactly. There it is. There he is. There he is. So, and we're going to start. We'll start from the top, and then we'll move our way down. And again, we're going to start with the quarterback room, Sammy. And, so with the quarterback position, of course, the Dolphins, they drafted Quinn Ewers last year in the 7th round. He played a little bit. People said they were talking about, you should just let him play this season, see what you got, and then hopefully suck enough to get a guy, one of the top quarterbacks next year. But Miami goes out and signs Malik Willis. He's going to be the QB1, at least at the start of camp, probably more likely for the season. They got Cam Miller. what grade would you give this position group?
Which one, quarterback?
Yes.
We want to start. I'm gonna go C plus, and C plus is actually being optimistic because I try to be. I'm a true believer in the power of positivity. I truly believe that being positive it makes a difference. So, but this year I'm gonna have to try to be a realistic because C plus I think is very optimistic because okay, Quinn Ewers, a rookie last year, he has some good spots. Number three is totally unproven. And I know there are a lot of hope in Malik Willis. I understand that. I can see that the hoping is running all over South Florida, all over Phoenix Nation. But Malik basically didn't play until last year with the Packers. Last 4 games of the season, he had good spots. Even Havley has said too many times that he had to tell Malik to don't start running as soon as the play breaks down. Look for the player. So they tried to develop him. They did a pretty good job. But Malik had he was supposed by some to be a first pick in the draft when he came out of college from Liberty. Then he was traded after being drafted by the Titans in the 3rd round. It was a great trade. They played very well. With a good team, well coached, we play very, very well. But that's not the case in Miami. We don't know what's going to happen. I don't have 100% confidence in the defensive coordinator. It's a rookie coach. It's a team with a lot of lack of talent. The wide receiver, the offensive line, we'll have to wait and see. So there are a lot of obstacles for him. So I'm going to give it a C plus, and I'm being positive when I do because if I want to be realistic, even might be a C minus because Malik, a lot of potential, but he has done nothing yet. So there's no way you can come here and basically give him an A's on hope. You have to go by what you know. What you know right now is a C plus. So I'm gonna go C plus.
I agree. I'm going C plus as well, and for the reasons you brought up. But again, why it's a C plus, not a C or a C minus. Again, Quinn Ewers, not a lot of time on the field, 7th round pick. Cam Miller, and then you think of Malik Willis. Again, a backup quarterback, 3rd round pick. Not a lot of playing time, but when he did, he looked really good. What bumps it up to a C plus is that he was supposedly the number 1 quarterback on the market when Miami signed him. He looks fired up. The Dolphins wanted him. They got him for the deal that worked out for them. He's familiar with the offense. That's why I bump it up to a C plus. I would have kept it a C or C minus, but because of those factors of that, he knows the offense. He was their guy. I expect that it could bump up to a B, I believe, depending on what we see this season. But right now, I'm at a C plus for the quarterback position. Let me see here. I just want to make sure because again, you think of Quinn Ewers, right? Oh well, Quinn. Haven't seen a lot of him yet. He was a 7th round pick. He did make some mistakes. I want to see him in his 2nd year. How does he respond in preseason? Maybe how he plays in preseason as the backup quarterback. That bumps up the room possibly to a B minus. Cam Miller, not too much. Robert puts a B. He says lots to prove. Not a lot of NFL playing experience. Time will tell. Reason I give it a B, a C plus. Great point though. C overall for Raphael and C for DSG. The running back room. Again, Devon Achane working on an extension. One of the premier backs in the league, despite what some may say. One of the top 10 backs in the league. Exciting. Let's see how Ollie Gordon's going to do this year. I think he'll have a better year. I think I'm more excited for him because I know what Achane could do with or without a good offensive line. I want to see how he does with the girth added to this offensive line. Sammy, what grade do you give the running back room?
Let me go to my cheat sheet. The conversation we had yesterday. I gave it an A, just because I truly believe that of course the running back room is kind of loaded with a lot of expectation. Devon Achane with the emphasis right now on the running game should be as good as it's ever been. So I'm gonna give it an A. Jalen Wright, as spots is good, as spots is not, and Ollie freaking Gordon. Hopefully he finds a way to get his career back on track, because so many expectations, but then he comes to the game, and so many times we have to wait, is he injured? Because why is he's not playing? Why is he not running? So I think they have probably the potential to be an A+ team, but with the Nation, with that kind of weapon, you get an A for me.
Yeah, so for me, again, Devon Achin, it gives you a great grade because, again, I believe in him. I think, he's going to have a great year. People just see him. Some people say, oh, he's a running back. He shouldn't get the new deal. We don't believe in second contracts for running back. But he's not just a running back. He's a receiver. He could do it all. And we've seen what he could do with a bad offensive line, but you add some girth to that line, and, I think he's going to have a better year. But I also think this might be a better year for Ollie Gordon. Jalen Wright, we'll see. Le'Veon Moss, we'll see. He's an undrafted free agent Miami signed. But because there's question marks with Ollie Gordon, how he performs into next year, this coming season, Jalen Wright on and out, where we don't know what else. There's question marks there. I would have loved to see an Adam Randall out of Clemson on this team. I would have loved to see if Miami got a CJ Donaldson out of Ohio State in this draft that passed. So right now for me, I give this room a B+. I'm going to give the running back room a B+. B+ for Achin. What drops it is the other guys. Could it brings it up to an A if Ollie freaking Gordon, if he could live up to what my expectations are of him, this can definitely be an A+ room, at least an A grade room by the end of the season. But right now it's a B+. The receiver group, I mean, not too far back, Betty, people said this was the best receiving group in the NFL. Not just the Dolphins. A lot of people around the league were saying it. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle kind of fell off. Tyreek Hill fell off. The team fell off. Now people still say, oh, well, Jalen Waddle, man, but I can't believe Miami traded him. Broncos got themselves a superstar. And we're kind of like, where, when, how, when was that? When did that happen? That disappeared. People probably said this was an A room, an A grade room, an A+ room just a couple of seasons back. Now, I like what Miami did with the receivers in this draft. They got my guy, Chris Bell. They got a tall speedster in Caleb Douglas with high potential. There's still stuff to work with. But again, you look at the quarterback room there. You look at what that quarterback was. You turn on the film. There's a lot of time he was, wide open and couldn't get the ball. What can he do this year? You add in Kevin Coleman. You think of Malik Washington and Taj Washington, Tutu Atwell. This grade, last year was probably a B-, maybe, with Tyreek and Waddle based off potential and hope of what they could be again. To me right now, this room's a C. I got this a C, Sammy. Where do you have the wide receiver room?
If you ask me, they're going to start the season as the D team, but by the end of the season, they're going to be a C- team. So I'm going to be a C-. I see some flashes. I have some expectations. I think the wide receiver position is going to be better than expected. I think, the young guys by the end of the season, I think they're going to take over. I always like to. I will think that I was very excited when they got him. So, and Tolbert, just week a guy Tolbert, they said he's in there for the Cowboys. Now he's in Miami. So they're gonna start the season because of the familiarity, because of the rookies. Probably it's a D+ team, but by the end of the season, C-. I think is very good considering they're a bunch of number 3, 4s, and 5s, like Jeff Aaron said at one time. So C- I think is fair. But right now, I don't think it's going to be a great start for the season at the wide receiver position, but they're going to get better as the season comes along.
Tight end room, 1 point, Jonnu Smith, Darren Waller. If these guys were on that team right now, grade would be a lot better. But they have Delchich, they got Kakmerick, Sadoro, Julian Hill, I think, is still on. No, not Julian Hill. But where would you grade the tight end room currently?
I have him at the D+, and I'm being gentle because right now, that no one's proven. No one's proven. There's no even Sims. I don't think he's proven enough as a pass catcher. I think he had a lot of question marks. So D+ is the best they can do for the tight end group. Hopefully, they surprise me, but right now D+ I think it's more than fair.
Sorry. I have it right now for the reasons you say. I think you told me D- before I did this, so just for here. But I have it a D. I have it a D right now because blocking tight end. I think Delchich will have. I think he might, with more opportunities, might be a better receiving tight end for Miami. But I know Miami spoke highly of him so far. I know John Eric Sullivan spoke highly. But I think Ket Merrick will be a focus too, or at least have more opportunities in the receiving game as well. But as a blocking tight end, I think he's going to do his job. So right now, I have it as a D for the tight end room. Offensive tackle. Patrick Paul, Austin Jackson. Where are you at in this room?
B minus. Just because Patrick Paul has been great. I think he's in the overs. Proctor, I think he's going to play guard this year. He might play a couple of games at tackle, but he's a rookie. We have to wait and see. And Austin Jackson. When he plays very good. Not great, but very good. But he's usually always injured, so you know what? That's bound to happen this year too. So that's my grade. I'm gonna give it. Let me see what I was again. I give it a B minus, just because of the fact that there's a lot of potential in that room. But as I always say on Fins TV, when you give so many ifs, if this, if that, is gonna be failing. But for now, I'm gonna stick with that.
I'm gonna go because of Patrick Paul. And if Austin Jackson, I know if is a big one, right? But healthy Austin Jackson with Patrick Paul and with the depth they have now, because if Patrick Paul, or Austin Jackson gets hurt, you could move Proctor there maybe. I'm going to give it a B. I'm going to give our offensive tackle group a B. You have it as a B minus. Offensive guard, you got Jonas Salvanea, you got Cameron, you've got Proctor. Where do you have the grade on our offensive guard room?
Again, so too many ifs. I'm gonna go with C minus. C minus just because of the fact that Savannah will have to wait and see. Basically, one of the worst guards, at least graded one of the worst guards in the whole NFL. I forgot the name of the guy who got for the Chargers. He's solid, but he's never shine anywhere. And Proctor, we have to wait and see if he can play guard. I don't remember he's playing a lot of guard in college, so we usually you're gonna have a lot of chance, to plow people over. So that gives them a chance, but it's not. They're not gonna outshine anyone. So I think C minus is more than fair.
I think it's fair. I see Josh Wingate, co-host of the Fins Talk Draft Show, and another show we got working on in the background. But he has it as a D. I'm gonna say because of the potential of Proctor. And because I still believe in Savannah now that he's at the right side, and even what maybe Coleman can do, I'm going with a C. So not a C minus, but I'm going to go again here with this. I'm going one up on you. Which when you brought me your grade, it was so funny because I was like, oh my god, we're almost neck and neck. It was hilarious.
If you summarize, basically we're running even.
Yeah. So it was funny how it's kind of playing out. So I went with a C. You went a C minus, which is understandable. Center, Aaron Brewer. Again, one probably, next to Patrick, and it is with Patrick Paul, him and Patrick Paul, sure things on this offensive line. He's in a contract year. Miami's going to try to extend him. They are trying to work on that. What grade would you give our center position?
Center, I'm going to give it A plus, just because of the fact that, when you have Brewer, basically one of the, if not the best center in the NFL, you have to give it A plus. Meyer is the backup, right? I think he's servable. So, he's good enough for a couple of plays, and, they might have to move somewhere else for the long term something happens, but something bad happens. But I think that's a solid position for the Dolphins. That's an A plus for me.
I'm going to go with an A. So I'm right with you on that. I'm going to go an A there. Again, great veteran, great captain. I'm glad that we have him on the team. I hope we can keep him. I think he's going to do wonders with Proctor at left guard. Proctor is playing left guard. That's what John Eric Sullivan has said, that he's projected to play guard. Because that's why they drafted him, because they think he could play multiple positions. Even though he only played left tackle in college, they think he has the ability to play on 4 positions on the offensive line: left tackle, right tackle, left guard, right guard. So yes, Josh, he is a guard with the Dolphins in his rookie season. But Brewer, I would give an A. Edge rusher. This is where it kind of gets dicey here, right? We start to talk about the edge rusher position. Chop Robinson, good rookie year, bad sophomore year, but the team was bad. They drafted Trey Moore. They got Laurent from Iowa. They got Kamara. For me, because again, like Savannah, I believe Chop was a product of bad leadership, bad culture in Miami. I think he could have a better year next year. I think he showed that in his rookie year. I think we could kind of see. I think we're going to see a see that kind of resurface in his third year. So I'm giving this edge rusher group a C right now. I'm going to give them a C. Sammy?
This is the position where I want to be wrong, because if I'm wrong, this team is going to be so much better. So much better. It changes the whole complexity of the defense. If I'm wrong on this grade, if the pass rush is there, if they're set on the edge well, if they find a way to to take it to the quarterback, the corners are better, the linebackers can do the job better. So if this position is better and I'm wrong, the Dolphins might have a chance to be a little bit better as a team. So I'll be honest, I give it a D+. I have right now no confidence in Chop Robinson. I have none. For me, he was the biggest disappointment. I had as you know, so high hopes for him last year. So the disappointment is so great that I don't know if he's gonna bounce back. I understand it's a new regime, but the same D-line coach. So I don't expect a huge change in philosophy from that point. And of course, Uche, he might get to the quarterback, but can he sit at the edge? We have to wait and see. So D+, but again, I want to be wrong. I want them to to put egg on my face and whatever, and maybe I had to eat crow because I was so wrong. But right now, that's my grade, D+.
There you go. Moving on to the defensive line. You got Zach Sealer. Oh my goodness. Jordan Phillips. Biggers. Oh my, what? Who's our other one now? I'm losing my brain here, Sammy. Who am I forgetting here? Michigan. Our defensive lineman.
Grant.
Kenneth Grant. Thank you. Kenneth Grant.
Biggers.
Yes. So anyway, young room.
Look who you're talking to. Every time I see her,
I know. I just lost
forget everything.
I hate when that happens. I knew who I was talking about. I just couldn't remember. But that room there, talk about a disappointment. That whole defensive line was a disappointment last season. So, but again, you kind of go back on, with Zach Sealer, you look at what he'd done years prior. You know what the potential is. You know what he can do. Kenneth Grant, that is the potential. You're like, hey, can he step up big in year two? Because it was not a bad defensive line, but it wasn't great either. They struggled at times. So I'm gonna go C with our defensive line group. Sammy, where are you going here?
Okay, I see somebody calling basically Grant a bust. He's not Dion Jordan. That's one. And you have to remember, by year 3, Wilkins was considered a bust. Defensive tackles, defensive linemen tend to take more time to develop. Dara Gardner, over the time, so many others. Paul Soliai, so many. Have been great for the Dolphins. Took a long time to develop a defensive lineman. So that's a contrary for me from the edge rusher. I like the upside of this position. I think they're on the ups. I think they might play better than expected, and they have a chance to be very, very, very good. So I'm gonna give the defensive lineman a solid C, considering that they have some questions. We don't know where they're gonna be yet. The potential is going up, but I'm hopeful I'm gonna give them a C.
There you go. Now, maybe, just maybe, my favorite group going into this season. It is right now. It is the linebacker group. Jacob Rodriguez, Jordan Brooks, Kyle Lewis, Dotson, Gay. I mean, there's some talent in this linebacker room. Sammy, what do you think of our linebacker room, and what grade do you give them?
I think the linebacker group is awesome. I talked to you before on FitSteve here on FCSN that I think Jordan Brooks is the best linebacker since Zach Thomas. That's how high I believe of him. So, but I also said that I truly believe that they're gonna wait till the trade deadline, and with that record, they might trade Jordan Brooks. So that's one of the reasons I don't think by the end of the season, the complete season, you can give him an A grade. So I give the linebackers a B grade.
Right now, and again, I try not to be, and I have been accused that I'm not, but I think maybe for this group I am, because I saw how excited Jordan Brooks was to get Jacob Rodriguez and how excited he was to get Caleb Douglas, but more Jacob Rodriguez, and then you add in Kyle Lewis. Right now, until Jordan Brooks is traded, and you're telling me these guys are going to play together, this group is an A. I have this as an A group. I think the fans are going to love this group. I think this is going to be the best linebacker unit that Miami's had in a while, in a long time. You brought up about Zach Thomas, Jordan Brooks, etc. You know, seeing his excitement, seeing the coach and the general manager excited for Jordan Brooks when they made those picks. He might be so hyped up in coaching Jordan Brooks, Jacob Rodriguez, and taking him under his wing. Miami say, we can't lose this guy. Let's try to work out a deal and keep him. And then imagine these guys playing together, not just this season, but seasons to come. You kind of solidified that unit if you can get that done. I love this room. I love the potential of this room. And I love what they can do year one, not year two, not year three. I think they're making impact year one. Now, the secondary, that's a whole other story. You know, that's a whole other story. So, man, Sammy, the cornerback, they got Chris Johnson. Solid pick, right? That helps. The Storm Duck is there. What do you talk to me about? Juju Brents, you know. Do they add another name to the room? We'll see. But right now, talk to me about this room and tell me where you have them at this moment.
I have it at a D plus, and one of the reasons why I have D plus, you have a lot of bodies, but you don't know yet who's going to be the starter. You know, way too many bodies. I think they had 11 cornerbacks before the draft, and now they drafted a couple. So I know even with the draft free agent. So D plus is a lot, and again, like I told you before, the pass rush is so weak as of right now, in my opinion, that you're gonna have a lot of cornerbacks getting burned. So I don't expect great play. They're gonna get about this by fire. Hopefully they're grown for it, but I have it a D plus.
So there are things to like about Storm Duck. He did some things that you like. Juju Brents did some things that you like. They added a couple names to the room. I think Robert just said there's a lot of names that they've added. Chris Johnson. We don't know what I'm forgetting his name right now. The corner we got last year out of Florida, Jason Marshall, what he'll do in his second season. Chris Johnson, I expect to have a decent year. Very good corner coming out of college. A lot of Dolphin fans wanted him. Talented. I'm gonna say I'm not far off from you. I was with you for a while, but as I kept thinking about it, I upped it. I have a C- for the cornerback room. I have it a C- right now because of what Juju Brents has shown last year
when
healthy. Storm Duck, and then you also think about Jason Marshall going into his second year, and then Chris Johnson, the talent of Chris Johnson. So I'm going to give this room a C-. I feel better about this room than I do about our safety position.
Storm Duck didn't play last year, right? I think he got injured first.
I think so.
Weeks, right? So basically, he didn't play last year, and Juju Brents got hurt too, and Chris Johnson is a rookie. That's one of the reasons I and too many bodies, but we still don't know what's going to happen. So that's one of the reasons why I'm gonna stick with my D plus.
The safety position, Minka.
Gone. Oh boy.
They did not do enough. I mean, that is one criticism I will give them. I think they left a lot of good players on the board in regards to the safety position. But what can you do, right? Sammy, where are you at with this safety group?
I'm at D-, if I'm not mistaken, because again, there's nothing proven here. We have to wait and see. But again, Halfley's specialty, right, is the defensive backs, is the safeties, is the corners. You got a lot of work to do with that secondary because you have a lot of bodies, but not necessarily great talent. So you have to wait and see if they can stay healthy, they can develop. So draft and develop, that's what I say we're going to do. So they're going to have to develop this defensive backfield because it's basically a lot of bodies, but no one proven.
Yeah, I'm going to base just what you said. I mean, and for what people are saying in the comments, that this is probably the group I feel very, very off about. Again, I'm intrigued. I'm hopeful. A lot of inexperience, but this is the year to be inexperienced. This is the year to have a bad year, right? Again, there's no expectations with this team. The draft, the talent in next year's draft looks great. Josh, coach, and myself already into the 2027 draft and love what I see so far. And so this is a year to be bad, or not, not to be good. But again, this is also a year, again, when you have nothing to lose, you don't have any expectations, nobody's expecting anything from you. That's a year, that's the time when you don't have the pressure. You kind of step up, you show out, you surprise some people, and maybe, just maybe, you earn yourself a role on this team going forward, or maybe you steal a spot, maybe you become a starter. Maybe somebody in the safety room can do that. But right now, it's the whole secondary, really, but the safety room more than anything is the one I'm most concerned with. But we'll see. Early on, Lenore Sellers at quarterback. Bobby put a hat on for extra garment. Tati says she's behaving today.
Oh.
So yeah, maybe, right, Robert? They could sign a veteran safety. Same thing as the secondary. They may add another person to the room, because I don't believe, I know Josh put in there Miami's playing for the first overall pick. Maybe they say, hey, like I'm saying, it's a good year to be bad, right? Or to have a tough year. It's a good year to have a first round, an early pick. But I don't see this team as a team that's going to say, hey, we're going to go in there to try to lose, or we're going to go with the weakest team possible and lose. I think this is going to be a team that they're going to try to win. They're going to be surprising some people. In regards of surprising, I mean, play harder than most people think they're going to play hard. They didn't invest that money into Malik Willis just to lay down and flatten the season. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games, but I think they're going to be an interesting team to watch. I know they signed Malik Willis. Basically, they set the foundation of their team as their starting quarterback. We'll see. Yeah, that's it. Robert's absolutely right. Play hard, compete. Wins are a bonus. If they win, great. If they lose, okay.
Yeah,
we know what it is. So
we talk so much about they're trying to be different. They're trying to be more physical. If they can find a way to not do the stupid penalties, which we criticize so much, the stupid penalties by formation, by basically so many stupid stuff. If they can play physical, if they give their best, there are a lot of things that you can see this team doing. Basically, maybe not winning games, but they'll be right on track. So, I don't spend a lot of wins against. It's a young team. They don't have experience. They're gonna be a man overpowered. Outsmarted because the longevity of the other teams, even in the AFC East. So my expectations are not high, but I would like them to be physical, be prepared, and not be stupid. That would be enough for me.
Yeah, and we're Robert talking about maybe going after a veteran here or there. Again, John Eric Sullivan has said, don't expect them to go crazy after June 1st when the money comes clear. Again, they got to sign their rookies, they got to sign a couple picks, but they're trying to be careful with their money. They're in a hole right now. It's an ugly situation. I know there's a lot of Dolphin fans shitting on John Eric Sullivan about, the amount of dead cap that we have, but he's cleaning up someone else's mess. I don't blame him. I mean, again, this is the mess we're in right now, the mess that the Dolphins are in. No hate intended. It is what it is now, but what Chris Greer put us in, so it's John Eric Sullivan's job now to get us out of it. And then once that clears, then they'll work to put better guys at the position and work it out. But I'm telling you right now, and I know a lot of people look at the quarterback room, and you should still look at the quarterback draft coming up in 2027. Because again, you wouldn't be smart not to. But there's a lot of good positions. Got a lot of good players at different positions in next year's draft that could fit Miami's roster. There's nobody really sold in any really position unless you're talking about Patrick Paul and Aaron Brewer and Devon Achen if extended. In regards of Kenny Moore from the Colts, great point, right, Rafael? I mean, I saw that earlier, and right away you think of Miami, but if Miami goes and signs Moore, that bumps up the room for sure. Bumps it up. Go ahead, Sammy.
I was working with ChatGPT just to sum up column A and column B for me to tell him which grade we gave him when you sum up the numbers. So you're the left side, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I think the left side gave him, let me see if I can find it. Let's say you gave it a C plus, that's a cumulative, and mine is a C. So basically, we're very, very
Oh,
close.
overall grade on the roster.
Yeah, I saw my
Oh,
very
gotcha,
single
okay.
grade. So, you got a C plus, you gave it a C plus, I gave it a C. So,
100%.
better than I expected, actually, you think I'm a B, because, I was worried when I started. Those A's basically saved them from being a D. So we were close.
But again, when I saw yours come in, I was like, "Oh damn, they're not too far off." I was like, I thought I was being mean, Then I saw yours, and I was like, "Damn, he is rude." But no, if they sign more, it would definitely bump up the secondary grade. And if they do, then you know that they're not trying to lose, quote unquote. They're trying to get better to play to win. So that's why, again, I don't kind of see it just because maybe what he might demand on the market, but also because what it can do for the roster if you sign him, it will make it better. So just interesting to kind of see. Sammy, what do you got going on, my man, on Fins TV?
Well, we are in hiatus, of course. We're gonna be a rookie minicamp, but that's not great news. So when they announce when it's gonna be the next minicamp, the week after, we're gonna have Fins TV with the whole Fins TV crew. Of course, with you and FTSN on the flagship. FTSN fixed up today.
The flagship show.
Yeah,
again, what we got going on, again, Fins Talk today every Thursday night live, working on a guest for next Thursday. We'll see. Once it's confirmed, we'll announce. Should be exciting if it's all confirmed. It's a yes right now, but we'll see. East Century Boys on Wednesday. We got Fantasy Now Plus in full swing, and soon No Holds Barred will be back. Right now, Josh has some personal stuff going on. So we've had to hold it. We got episodes 3 and 4 of the Hogan Real American doc that we got to review, and of course go back to WrestleMania. And then I saw, I want to talk about Sports Illustrated and then Bleacher Report's top 50, top 25 wrestlers of WWE greatest of all time. It's kind of like, what the hell is that? But that's another day for another time. But a lot of stuff going on here.
I saw that, and
I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, come on now. But to each their own, I guess. But anyway, for everyone watching, if you're watching live or you're watching brand new or you're watching after the show, we appreciate you joining us. Put in the comments what grades you would give this roster and what you thought about the topics or what your opinion is on the topics we discussed today. If you are new to the channel, appreciate you. Thank you to all the new people out there. Let us know where you're watching from. Again, we got a lot of great content here on FTSN. We got Dolphins, obviously. We got NFL, college sports, Hurricanes. We got baseball. We got Marlins. Sammy was on the baseball show yesterday talking Braves, the hottest team in baseball right now. We got wrestling. We got basketball. We got it all. And we got draft content. We got a lot of great content coming here too on FTSN. So make sure you subscribe and keep your eye out for other stuff we got cooking in the background. So, and again, shout out to Caneswear, our partner, sponsor of FTSN. If you love the Dolphins, you want to get some Dolphins gear, Hurricanes, Marlins, Panthers, Heat, anything South Florida sports, go check out Caneswear at caneswear.com. If you're anywhere other than South Florida, if you're in South Florida, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Brett and the crew, man, they do an awesome job. Got great gear. But if you're not, then go to caneswear.com. Like if you're in Puerto Rico or Nashville, Delaware, wherever, they ship. So go check it out. Josh says with the first pick in the 2027 NFL draft, the Dolphins select.
Oh, we just wait, Josh. We're gonna run 2027 mock draft. Run the machine, Bobby.
Yeah, there you go. Let's run it. Let's run it right now. Let's do it. Jeremiah Smith. That's the pick. Even though Cam Coleman, the receiver out of Texas, he looks pretty damn good too. Just saying. There's a lot of good players.
For Malik, to be good enough for us, don't need to draft a quarterback, have the first or second pick, trade to the fourth pick, and then get the wide receiver from Ohio State, and basically we'll have more picks at the game.
But that's my thing, though. Like, there is so much, we're gonna get it. I mean, and we're gonna talk about it on with Josh and Coach eventually. But there's so much talent in next year's draft. Like, you really think about it, you're like, you could get that guy if you're a top pick, and then wait till the second round and grab yourself a quarterback because there's some good ones there. But either way, conversation for another day. Dolphin fans, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But most importantly, as always, Dolphin fans, if I could get there, hands up. See you guys next time.